After the release of Squid Game Season 2, it didn't take long for Korean media to publish a wave of negative articles targeting T.O.P, who plays the role of Thanos in the series. This led to fans speculating that the articles might be part of a coordinated effort to tarnish his image, and many believe the evidence strongly supports this theory. Ever since 2019, news about former Big Bang member T.O.P has been few and far between, as he has decided to step away from the public eye for a bit. For those who may not be familiar with the events that led to T.O.P's hiatus from the K-pop industry, let's take a quick look back at what happened. T.O.P began his 2-year mandatory military service in 2017 as a conscripted police officer, with his discharge scheduled for 2018. However, in May of that year, news broke that he would be prosecuted without detention for using illegal substances. As a result, T.O.P was transferred to a different police division to await prosecution and was suspended from his police duties while waiting for the outcome of his case. In response, he issued a handwritten apology promising, "I will never make such an irresponsible mistake again." During that time, T.O.P was bashed with an overwhelming wave of hate comments, some of which accumulated thousands of likes across various Korean media platforms. The comments were filled with so much venom and became so intense that fans began to genuinely worry about his well-being. At one point, a photo surfaced of T.O.P in a police uniform at the police station where he was stationed, with a small smile on his face. This moment quickly became a target for criticism, with hate comments eagerly seizing the opportunity to drag him through the mud, focusing on that smile. However, for his fans, it didn't seem like the smile of someone who was unrepentant or indifferent to his actions. Instead, it appeared to be the expression of someone deeply struggling and perhaps even on the brink of giving up. Unfortunately, it turned out to be true, as only a few days after issuing his apology, T.O.P was discovered unconscious in the police barracks, seemingly due to an overdose of anti-anxiety medication. He was immediately rushed to the hospital for emergency care. Following a thorough investigation, it was revealed that T.O.P had been a regular user of sedatives, but on that particular day, he had taken a higher dosage than prescribed, leading to a dangerous and harmful outcome. Thankfully, on June 8, 2017, T.O.P's mother confirmed that he had regained consciousness and was recovering. On June 29th, during his first trial at the Seoul Central District Court, T.O.P pled guilty, admitting to smoking illegally on 4 occasions, and was sentenced to 2 years of probation. The trial also revealed that T.O.P had engaged in illegal activities with the controversial actress and his ex-girlfriend, Han So-hee, at least 3 times. Following a disciplinary review to determine whether he would return as a conscripted policeman or complete his service as a public service worker, T.O.P was reassigned to a member of a military reserve force status by the authorities. He was transferred from the police force and resumed his mandatory service as a public service officer on January 26, 2018, being ultimately discharged from his service on July 6, 2019. The situation raised questions about his mental health and the exact reasons behind his use of anti-anxiety medication. However, when this scandal was revisited years later, fans were quick to recall how T.O.P had shed light on the harsh realities of being an idol and how it affected his mental health for the worse. During an interview with Prestige Online in 2022, he shared that he had struggled with depression since a young age, feeling unusually sensitive compared to others. T.O.P also addressed his 2017 scandal, referring to it as one of the biggest news stories in Korea and described it as the worst moment of his life. Despite this, the aftermath of the scandal had the most significant impact on T.O.P, and he revealed just how deeply it affected his mental health, even leading to his attempts at self-harm. Although T.O.P received extreme backlash in the past, with every media company calling him out, he also highlighted Korea's high rates of self-inflicted harm and pointed out that mental health still remains a taboo subject within the country's traditional society. Now, as T.O.P was making his long-awaited return to the screen after an extended break, many might have expected a warm and enthusiastic reception. However, people didn't forget his past scandal and were not quite prepared to accept his comeback. This whole controversy began on June 28, 2023, when it was officially announced that T.O.P would be joining the cast of Squid Game 2 as player 230, a retired rapper who becomes a victim of a crypto investment scam. One notable trait of T.O.P's character in the series is his impulsive nature, which seems to include said substance use, a portrayal that many believe too closely mirrored his real-life scandal. This also became an obvious reason for the ongoing criticism and backlash T.O.P was receiving. Soon after photos of the cast preparing for filming were shared, Korean netizens quickly voiced their disapproval, with many stating they would not watch the series because of T.O.P's involvement. One comment specifically said, "I'm not watching. A criminal is appearing in it shamelessly." The backlash against the casting of T.O.P in Squid Game became so intense that it led to calls for a boycott, with a significant amount of criticism aimed at his casting for the role. In response to the growing controversy, the director of Squid Game, Hwang Dong-hyuk, felt the need to defend the idol-turned-actor publicly in an interview with People. Referring to T.O.P by his Korean name Choi Sung-hyun, he acknowledged the rumors swirling around the kind of character T.O.P would portray and highlighted the courage it took for the actor to take on such a controversial role. The director emphasized that he had faith in T.O.P's ability to bring the character to life and reassured the audience that T.O.P had been thoroughly screened for the role and his casting was a result of his proven talent and suitability for the character. He further expressed, "We decided that we had no choice but to prove to the viewers through the final result as to why this character and work had to go to T.O.P. That was why we did not cancel it and press through with it." However, when Squid Game finally premiered on December 26th, things did not go as expected. T.O.P's fans were overjoyed at the hope of seeing him back on screen, as many had eagerly awaited his return after his time away from the industry. But the situation took a turn, and T.O.P found himself at the center of a growing storm of backlash for multiple reasons. Viewers were eager to see the cause behind the highly controversial casting of T.O.P, but they were left deeply disappointed by his performance, which many critics found lacking. According to multiple Korean media outlets, T.O.P's acting fell short of expectations. In particular, MBC harshly criticized his portrayal, describing his character as unbearable and suggesting that a talented rookie should have been cast instead. They even went so far as to say that just watching T.O.P simply walk into a scene was unappealing. Meanwhile, Joy News expressed complete confusion at the director's decision to retain T.O.P for the role, even implying that the casting choice was more about generating publicity than providing a chance. The report also questioned whether the creators genuinely believed that by saying they deemed him suitable, viewers would simply accept their decision and move on. But when the report quoted, "Or did they assume that because the Squid Game series targets a global audience, the disappointment from Korean viewers could be ignored," it led netizens to believe that the creators underestimated the importance of the Korean audience's response. In fact, some even questioned whether T.O.P's casting was the result of using his connections. Netizens believed that despite director Hwang's denials, casting T.O.P, who had publicly clashed with fans on social media, announced he wouldn't be returning to Korea and hadn't acted since 2014 in the most globally successful K-drama project in history seems hard to justify unless it's connected to his close ties with the main cast of Squid Game. However, what initially appeared to be a minor issue soon escalated into something much larger when fans began to notice that T.O.P had been mysteriously removed from promotional materials, excluded from interview schedules for Squid Game 2, and didn't attend the highly anticipated production presentation event. But then came the international fans who stepped up to defend T.O.P. They praised his acting and what he brought to season 2, with one international fan commenting, "Did we all watch the same drama? 'Cause for me, he was one of the few things that are good in this otherwise utterly boring season of Squid Game." Additionally, fans discovered a clear difference in how Korean and international outlets were reacting, which seemed to extend to Netflix as well. They pointed out that while global Netflix accounts frequently posted clips highlighting T.O.P.'s portrayal of Thanos, Netflix Korea had not shared any content related to him at all. This highlighted director Hwang's point that exaggerated cartoonish characters like Thanos tend to be well received internationally but often feel out of place to Korean audiences, who generally prefer more grounded and serious portrayals. As a matter of fact, international fans also criticized the hypocrisy of netizens who only targeted T.O.P, despite several other Squid Game 2 cast members having faced more serious controversies. For example, Lee Jung-jae, who plays the main role in the show, has a history of DUIs and harassment allegations. Lee Jin-wook was accused of SA in 2016, though the charges were dropped, while veteran actor Oh Young-soo received an 8-month suspended sentence for SA. The most shocking case was Song Young-chung, or Player 100, who reportedly paid a 16-year-old girl for intimate services while married, resulting in a 10-month suspended sentence and 2 years of probation, but was released early. Fans expressed confusion about the unnecessary hate campaign against T.O.P, with one comment noting, "Song Young-chang was charged with underage intimate services, and they're worrying about T.O.P's cringe acting." Another thing that caught fans' attention was how the hate articles about T.O.P surfaced just 5 minutes after the show's release, despite him not appearing until the 3rd episode. This led fans to question whether the critics had actually seen his scenes before posting their reviews, or whether this was part of a hate campaign. Turns out that a press screening for episodes 1 through 7 took place on December 23rd, with a review event until the official release. Journalists had to sign an NDA and place their phones in special pouches that blocked camera functions from entering the screening venue. While it appears that reporters would have watched all 7 episodes, including T.O.P's scenes, before writing their reviews, it's ultimately up to fans to determine whether the criticism was authentic or not. However, when the backlash reached a boiling point, director Hwang decided to address the situation head-on in an exclusive interview. He explained that casting the character was a complex process, and his team struggled to find an actor who could authentically portray the role of a troubled rapper, a storyline reflecting real-world social social issues. He continued, "We held auditions for a long time looking for someone who could portray a hip-hop-loving, substance-using character, but I couldn't find anyone who met my criteria." T.O.P's name came up during the search, and although the director was initially hesitant due to the actor's extended break from the industry, he eventually decided to reach out to him. After several auditions and some doubts about whether T.O.P was ready, Hwang concluded that he was the right fit for the role. However, what he didn't expect was the intense backlash, as he expressed. "Given that it's been 6 to 7 years for Sung-hyun, I thought enough time had passed for people to accept him. However, I was surprised by the backlash." At the very end, reflecting on the controversies and T.O.P's comments about not returning to Korea, Hwang realized the issue was more complicated than he had anticipated. But personally, he felt he couldn't simply exclude T.O.P from the project because he hadn't been forgiven by mentioning, "I wanted to work with him to create something that could show whether he could earn forgiveness." He wrapped up by stating that, in the end, it's up to the public to decide if they'll accept him again after seeing his work. Despite the director's repeated defense of casting T.O.P, it may still take a considerable amount of time for netizens to fully accept him. Only time will tell if public opinion can shift and whether he can ultimately win over the hate.